Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Nach On Sports Podcast. I am back from a 2-week vacation. I traveled to Milwaukee, Wisconsin for my two best friends' wedding. I'd like to say again, congratulations to Kim and Tyler. You guys threw a heck of a reception. Really enjoyed seeing everybody. Glad to be back in Florida. Glad to be back doing the podcast again. So let's get started. We're going to talk about high school football first. Carrie Ann's got an update for us from last week, and then we're going to try and preview some of the big matchups tonight as several of the teams are getting ready to go into district play. Carrie, what do you got for me?
Hey, thanks, Nach. First, we're taking a look at the Cape Coast Conference action from Friday. Seabreeze defeated Titusville 59-14. Titusville's record dropped 1-3. Next, we have Palm Bay versus Astronaut, where the Pirates grounded the War Eagles 29-0. Palm Bay's record improves to 3-2, while Astronaut falls to 2-2. The Rockledge Raiders raided the Vieira Hawks 28-7 and improved their record 3-1, while Vieira drops from 0-4. The Heritage Panthers look to extend their undefeated campaign against Satellite, and they beat the Scorpions 34-6 and are now 5-0. The Scorpions fall to 1-3. The Melbourne Bulldogs look to reverse their fortunes as they dropped their previous two games. It would take some late heroics, but the Bulldogs beat Centennial 10-3. The Bulldogs' record improved to 3-2. Gateway High dropped the O'Galley Commodores 20-0. The O'Galley is getting into district play, and they kick it off next week against the Red Hot Heritage team. Cocoa Beach rolled over Celebration High 44-7, setting up a big matchup at home against their rival Cocoa. Cocoa Beach goes into that game 5-0, but before the matchup, the Tigers had to deal with the last team that beat them, the Mustangs. Cocoa's strong D stopped the Merritt Island offense and sealed a 17-0 Cocoa victory. Now, there's some great high school football for Week 6. First, we have Cocoa at Cocoa Beach at 7:30, Astronaut at Satellite at 7:30, Bayside at Melbourne at 7:30, Heritage at O'Galley at 7:30, Rockledge at Merritt Island at 7:30, and Fort Pierce Centennial versus Vieira at 7:30. So, go support your local high school sports and cheer on your favorite team. Back to you, Nach.
Thanks, Carrie. I appreciate the update. I can definitely say that the Cocoa Beach and the Cocoa game, I will be broadcasting tonight with the Friday Night Locker Room, 89.3 in Northern Brevard, 90.3 in Southern Brevard. You'll hear me, Orville, and Steve broadcasting the game, and tonight I'll be bringing you all the scores from around the Cape Coast Conference, including the big matchup between Melbourne and Bayside. That's a huge matchup tonight. This really could determine who's going to be going to the playoffs tonight between Melbourne and Bayside. If Melbourne loses another game in district play, this could really seal their fate and early on eliminate them from the playoffs. So it should be a very interesting week of high school sports. Up next, we're going to talk about my alma mater, WLC, real quick. They got off to a great start last week as they defeated Lakeland and winning for the 6th straight time their homecoming game. They're going in to face Concordia Chicago team, a team that's been red hot the last couple of years, finishing in the top 2 of the conference, narrowly missing the playoffs last year. This game will determine who will probably be the conference champions of the Northern Athletics Conference. WLC has the stingiest defense in the conference, and the Concordia Chicago Cougars have the most high-powered offense within the conference. So a battle between 1 versus 1 in the respective categories. So that's a huge matchup to watch for this Saturday if you're in Milwaukee. So definitely go, if you're in Milwaukee and you're looking for something to do on Saturday, go take a look at Wisconsin Lutheran College taking on Concordia Chicago. I really like WLC's chances. They got a really solid running game. Their passing game definitely balances them out as well. And like I said, that defense has been doing a great job with some young players and getting a pass rush. One of the ways to beat Concordia Chicago is to get a lot of pressure on their quarterback, and I think WLC can definitely provide that. So moving on from college D3 college football, we're going to move on to the world of Major League Baseball and the playoffs. The pennant races are over. We know who the teams are. Tonight is the wild card, pretty much the sudden death game. Winner-take-all format, 2 wild card teams. The first time MLB is doing this, changing the playoff format. I think this is a really exciting format for fans to watch. The first 2 games, or the 2 games that are on tonight, is the St. Louis Cardinals are at the Atlanta Braves. That game kicks off at 5:07 p.m. Eastern Time, while the Baltimore Orioles take on the Texas Rangers at 8:37. Charlie, Matthews has more for me on that front of the baseball games tonight. Charlie, what do you got for me?
All right, on the NL, we all know that St. Louis is going to be traveling to Atlanta to take on the Braves. Right now, the Braves are starting their red-hot starter, Chris Medlin. Right now, he's at a 1.57 ERA. He's on a 23 consecutive streak, and I think he's going to overtake the Cardinals. And the Cardinals are going to be starting their starter, Kyle Loesch. He's been looking really good this season, too. He has a 2.86 ERA, but I'm just not sure if he's going to be able to hold off against the red-hot Braves right now. And in the American League right now, Baltimore is going to be traveling to Texas. Baltimore, they're starting their starter, Joe Saunders. He's looking really good right now. He's got a 4.07 ERA. He's going to be facing off against the Texas Asian Invasion, Yu Darvish. Got a 3.9 ERA. This guy's red hot right now. Texas, I think they have the overall lead. They've always had the power, they have the stamina, and their pitching, I think, is better than the Orioles. Back to you, Knock.
I think, just a second, Charlie. I think the Orioles, let's go with that first matchup that you're talking about there with Baltimore and Texas. I like this intriguing matchup because Baltimore isn't a team that's going to overwhelm you with a lot of names at the plate. And not a lot of names on the pitching mound either, but I think Baltimore can definitely take advantage because Texas right now, they've lost 9 of their last 13 games. They're not finishing strong. Even though Texas has huge power bats, I'm just not sure if those bats are going to show up. Josh Hamilton's kind of in a slump right now. They got plenty of other people that can make up for that. I'm just curious. I think Baltimore could definitely upset the Rangers tonight. I think I'm going to go with Baltimore to beat the Rangers tonight. And unfortunately, even though the Rangers looked so good early on in the season for a World Series championship, I think this one ends, and I think they're going to have to go on another quest next year to try and finally get that World Series ring. What do you think, Charlie?
Well, like you said, Texas has been going down in their skill a little bit, but they always have had a really good record when it comes to postseason. They always pick their game up, and they've always stepped it up. They've always personally impressed me, and I think they're going to be able to pull one out of the bag tonight and overset the Orioles.
All right, so we'll find out on Monday who wins between me and you. I'm picking Baltimore. Charlie is taking the Texas Rangers. Now moving on to the NL, I definitely like Chris Medlin and the Atlanta Braves. The Cardinals are a team, though, you can't sleep on because last year the Cardinals we thought were dead in the water, but they made an incredible postseason run that ended up with them winning another World Series title. I don't know about Kyle Loesch. Kyle Loesch looks to be their ace at this point. Even though Chris Carpenter's finally coming back, but he still hasn't had too many starts under his belt. So it looks interesting. I think it's an interesting matchup, but I definitely think the Atlanta Braves take this one to St. Louis Cardinals, and the defending World Series champions will no longer be defending World Series champions. Charlie, what do you think?
I have to agree with you on that one. The Cardinals do have the hot bats. I mean, they have the quick bats. They're more of a contact. But I think the Braves are going to have an overall better game. They have more power hitters mixed in with their contact hitters, and I think they're just going to have a way better pitching game.
All right. Well, Charlie, Carrie, I want to appreciate you guys for contributing to the podcast. We're going to have you guys on a lot more, talking about a lot more high school sports. I know, Carrie, you're getting ready to talk to us about soccer season in the coming weeks. Looking forward to having that conversation with you. And Charlie, obviously we're going to be previewing the Division Series next week, as those are going to obviously be in mid-swing. Determining who's going to be advancing to the AL Championship Series and the NL Championship Series. So, guys, thanks a lot. I definitely appreciate the input. All right, fans, we're going to move on. When I come back, we're going to talk about the top 10 college football games this week. I only chose 2 because of the baseball stuff, but I got some really interesting ones for you. Texas and West Virginia and LSU and Florida, both intriguing matchups. We'll talk about those when I come back. Thank you for coming back. Nach On Sports here again. We're going to start talking about the college football atmosphere this Saturday and get into 2 of the games. 5 games is just a little too many, and I know we didn't have a lot of time, especially talking about baseball. Get into 2 of the games for the NFL as well. But first, I want to talk about the West Virginia-Texas game. This is a very interesting matchup. I mean, Texas was boasted for their defense, so it'll be interesting to see what happens this week They gave up a lot. Even though they had a shutout, they missed a lot of big plays last week against New Mexico. So it'll be I think definitely interesting to see if the defense can hold Geno Smith, because Geno Smith is on a tear. I mean, the game last week against Baylor, I mean, just a remarkable game. That many points scored. Holy cow. I mean, really. Just, I don't even know why the defense even bothered to be on the field. But Geno Smith had a lot of good numbers, 141 for 169 for 1,728 yards and 20 touchdowns already. Had 8 last week. Astonishing in that in general. But West Virginia opens up against a very tough Big 12 opponent in Texas. So I'm definitely interested to see this matchup. Does Geno Smith, because these are definitely going to be more high-caliber players than I think they faced in Baylor. So I'm definitely interested to see, okay, does West Virginia's skill players match up well against Texas secondary? Now, Texas secondary has been vulnerable a little bit this year, but I definitely want to see what happens when it comes to that defense versus West Virginia's offense. Now, Texas's offense is no slouch either. David Ash is doing a great job leading the Longhorns in a very good passing attack. He's right behind Geno Smith in the Big 12 in terms of stats and yards and everything else. So it'll be very interesting to see if West Virginia's defense fixed anything from last week, because West Virginia's defense gave up so many big plays to Baylor. So I think it's very, very key. Who's going to give up more big plays? And like I said, this is, again, the Big 12 conference where it's nothing but offense. Trying to find a defense in this conference is like trying to find a needle in a haystack for sure. So I definitely like this matchup. I think Texas does beat West Virginia, though. I think they just have they have better players. And West Virginia just hasn't faced these types of players that Texas brings to the table. So I like Texas in this matchup. The next matchup we have is LSU versus Florida. LSU just kind of has been struggling lately. They committed a couple of turnovers and a lot of penalties last week, especially against a team like Townsend. Not very good, so you got to expect that Les Miles has his team ready to go this week, especially considering the fact they're going into the Swamp and going against a good Florida team, and a team that, even if you get up on them early, a team that is willing to, they're a second-half team. They can either pull away from you in the second half, or they can definitely take the lead back from you in the second half. So I think Will Muschamp's team is definitely going to be ready. They've got a solid defense. Their offensive line is their strength, so I think if they can continue to run the football very well against LSU, they definitely increase their chances of winning. I think their offensive line has to beat up LSU's defensive line, and I think that's really the biggest matchup you're going to see in this game. That's where the eyes need to be, I think, this Saturday. At least that's where my eyes are going to be, is the offensive and defensive line play for Florida's offensive line and LSU's defensive line. Who's going to win that matchup? I think Florida's offensive line has to win in order for Florida to have a chance at beating LSU. I definitely think Florida has the opportunity and has the ability to beat LSU this year. I don't think LSU is nearly the team that they were last year, even with a freshman quarterback in Mettenberger. I think it's going to be tough for him to continue to throw the football. So I would look for their core of running backs to be running the football against Florida's defense. So I think whoever wins in the running game and whoever can win the turnover battle in this game is going to win it. I think Florida pulls it out. I definitely think Florida upsets LSU. I don't think LSU has just been playing well enough lately. So I think Florida pulls it out this week. So that's, like I said, a very, very there's a lot of good games this week, so I'm definitely interested to see those, and definitely keep my eye on those games. So like I said, I think Texas beats West Virginia, and Florida takes down LSU. Up next, the NFL, Washington versus Atlanta. A very interesting matchup. The Washington Redskins came back and beat my Bucks last week. Great job by Robert Griffin III leading his team to a comeback victory. Even though it was a tale of two halves. Washington exploded in the first half and then kind of just settled in the second half, and Tampa Bay took advantage of that. Atlanta's red hot. I mean, they came back and they beat Carolina on a game-winning drive. Huge pass plays by Matt Ryan to Roddy White. I mean, it's really you got to pick your poison with Atlanta. Who are you gonna try and cover and take away from them? You're going to try and take Tony. All right, well, they got Julio and Roddy White and Michael Turner. You try to take either one, and they got 3 other options to fill in. So it's very tough right now, I think, and especially considering Washington's pass defense is one of the worst in the league. I think Atlanta's going to run away with this game. I think RG3 is going to keep it competitive for 2 quarters, maybe 3 quarters, but I think Atlanta is going to win this game ultimately. I think just too much Matt Ryan to Julio Jones or Roddy White. Take your pick. Hopefully for my fantasy team, Tony Gonzalez can pick up a touchdown and a couple, maybe 60 yards receiving. That would definitely help. But I think Matt Ryan has another great day, probably another 300-yard passing day because Washington's pass defense is just not very good at all. But definitely an intriguing matchup to watch this week. The other one, Peyton Manning versus Tom Brady. I'm not sure how many more of these matchups we're going to see considering the fact of Peyton and Brady's age. And I think Peyton's probably going to leave either at the end of this year or next year. So another great matchup between these 2 quarterbacks. It's always fun to watch these two. Denver, their defense is a lot better than when they faced the Patriots last year. So I think Denver's defense is going to be key. But New England has a running game, and I've been saying for quite a while that when New England won its first 3 Super Bowls, they had a running game, and they were able to balance it. So a team wasn't just teeing off on Tom Brady. I think if New England can establish the run game again with Stephen Ridley, I think Denver's going to have a hard time keying on the Patriots. The defense for New England was looking strong early on, but they gave up a lot of points last week. They structured some things, even though they forced 6 turnovers. But once again, they forced 6 turnovers against a turnover-prone team in the Buffalo Bills. So I don't think you're going to see that from Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning's used to being in Gillette, so I think he's going to have it's not going to be unfamiliar to him. I think it's going to be all about whether or not which quarterback doesn't turn the ball over, because one of these quarterbacks in the previous one, it's always been about which quarterback turns the ball over or makes the fewest mistakes. And I think, I'll be honest with you, I think New England's going to be that team. I don't think Denver has enough firepower to keep up with Tom Brady and the Patriots. I like Stephen Ridley, and I think you're going to see a heavy dose of him this weekend, just including the fact that Tom Brady's still getting a lot of pressure when he's throwing. So I expect a heavy dose of Stephen Ridley and Rob Gronkowski and Brandon Lloyd and Wes Welker. I think they're going to see a lot of touches this week. So I like New England in this game. I think New England wins this one, and I think Tom Brady gets the edge over Peyton Manning once again until the next time these two great quarterbacks, these 2 Hall of Famers, play again. So that about wraps up my show today. It's a little bit short. But I'm definitely excited. A lot of stuff going on this weekend. If you can, catch a lot of the baseball games. A lot of good games tonight. Like I said, Baltimore at Texas, St. Louis at Atlanta. Really good pitching matchups, and I think a lot of good baseball tonight. I'm going to watch it if I can. Probably won't be able to, considering the fact I know I'm going to be in Cocoa Beach for the Cocoa versus Cocoa Beach game. Like I said earlier, that will be on the Friday Night Locker Room with Steve and Orville and myself, giving you scoring updates from around the Cape Coast Conference. So if you can, tune in at 90.3 in Southern Brevard and 89.3 in Northern Brevard, or you can go to the website gofnlr.com. You can listen live on the web as well. Click on the link once you go to the web page, and you can definitely catch us at the Cocoa Beach game and all the live score updates from around the Cape Coast Conference. So like I said, guys, that's my show. You can catch me on Twitter at Nach On Sports, or my Facebook page, the Nach On Sports, getting live updates on all things baseball, NFL, and college football, as well as high school football. I want to say thanks again to Charlie Matthews and Carrie Ann Cardiff for joining me today and helping me out with baseball and high school. Guys, this has been a fun show. Continue to listen to the Nach On Sports Podcast. I look forward to it. If you can, always send me questions, especially fantasy questions. Always looking forward to answer those for you. And I enjoy bringing this podcast to you guys. So you guys have fun. Have a great weekend. Enjoy all the sports. This is the Nach On Sports. I'm knocking out.